This is the video for algebra for solving and graphing inequalities. You already know how to graph, or you already know how to solve inequalities. Today we're going to graph the solutions on a number line as well. When you go to graph the solution on a number line, you have to use an open dot when you have less than or greater than. You have to use a closed dot when you have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So an open dot is a dot that is not filled in. A closed dot is a dot that is filled in. The way that I like to remember it, when to use which one, you have to do more work by putting the extra or equal to below the less than or equal to symbol. So you have to do more work by filling in the dot. That's how I like to remember it. So you're going to put a dot on the answer and draw an arrow going in the same direction as the inequality symbol. So if you think about the inequality symbols as an arrow, the greater than symbol, you're going to draw an arrow going to the right. The less than symbol, you're going to draw an arrow going to the left. Same thing here. Your arrow is going to the left with less than, your arrow is going to the right with greater than. Now, that only holds true if you put the answer in the correct form. Remember, your answer has to be a variable, a letter, then your inequality symbol, then your number. You have to have it in that order for that little shortcut to work, that the arrow points in the direction of the inequality symbol. So make sure that your answers are in this form. When we take a look at the first example, this is a two-step equation. So you want to get the 2x all by itself. We get the 2x all by itself by adding 9 to both sides. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side of the inequality. Those 9s cancel out. Bring down your 2x, bring down your inequality symbol. 3 plus 9 is 12. Now we just have a one-step equation that says 2 times x. You want to do the opposite of times, which is divide. So divide by 2, divide by 2. Always do top divided by bottom. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And we just bring down our inequality symbol. So here's our inequality answer. X is less than 6. What you're going to do to graph it on the number line, you're going to put a dot at the 6, at the answer. Now we have the symbol of less than. Less than is going to use an open dot. So we're going to put an open dot right on it, on the number line like that. And then the arrow is pointing to the left. We want all the numbers that are less than 6. So you're going to draw on the number line an arrow that looks like that. In your class kit, what you can do is you're going to have arrows at the top of the screen and you can drag them down to the number line, or you could draw right on the number line, your choice. In the second one, we have parentheses, so we have distributive property. You want to take the number outside the parentheses and multiply it by both of the things inside the parentheses. -5 times x is -5x. -5 times 2 is -10. Bring down your inequality symbol, bring down your 25. Now we have a two-step equation. Always get rid of your plus whatever or minus whatever. So we're going to add 10 and add 10. So we have -5 is greater than 35. Divide by -5, divide by -5. Those cancel out. Now be careful, 35 divided by a negative number. Remember, if this bottom number is negative, all right, if you're dividing by a negative, you have to flip the sign. So this greater than symbol changes to less than. Top divided by bottom, we have -7. So we have the inequality statement, x is less than -7. Now, -7 on our number line is in between -6 and -8. So all I'm going to do is estimate there. I'm going to put an open dot because we have less than. And our inequality symbol is going to the left. In this third one, we have variables on both sides of the equal sign. We have a letter on both sides. I like to work with the smaller of the two letters first, because that way you'll work with less negatives. So the smaller of the two letters is our -3. So to get rid of that -3x, I'm going to add 3x to both sides. Remember, you can't add together your like terms because they're not on the same side of the equal sign. These are on different sides of our inequality or equal sign. So we have to add or subtract them to get them all onto one side. Negative 2x plus 3x is 1x. Bring down my minus 1, bring down my inequality symbol. Be very, very careful here. You're bringing down a negative 9. All right, that minus sign turns into a negative when we bring it down. Now we have a two-step inequality, so add 1 and add 1. So we have 1x is less than or equal to negative 8. Divide by 1, divide by 1. X is less than or equal to negative 8. We don't flip the sign on this one because we're dividing by a positive 1. Yes, there's a negative sign in the problem, but we're dividing by a positive, not a negative. So we're going to use a closed dot this time. Less than or equal to is a closed dot. So at the negative 8, we're going to make a filled in dot like that. And our inequality symbol is pointing over to the left. So we're going to draw our arrow over to the left so that it looks like that. Now, what do these inequality symbols really mean? Why are we making our arrows go left or right or whatever they do? If we take a look at this first one, what these inequality symbols really mean is that all the numbers that are in this arrow, if we take a look at this first one, all the numbers that are in that arrow are answers to the problem. So if we take a number that is less than 6, for example, 0, we would have 2, and we sub it into our equation to do a check. If we had 2 times 0 minus 9, 2 times 0 is 0, minus 9 is negative 9. We would end up with negative 9 is less than 3. Is negative 9 less than 3? Yes, it is. All the numbers that are less than 6 will work in that inequality statement. So all of them will check. However, the open dot does not include the number, right? The open dot does not include the number. So 6 will not check in this equation. If we sub in a 6, and I'll switch colors here. If we sub in a 6, we're going to have 2 times 6 minus 9 is less than 3. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. We would get an answer of 3 is less than 3. Is 3 less than 3? No, it's not. It's equal to 3, but it's not less than 3. So this open dot does not include that number. These numbers up here, 7, 8, and 9, they're not in our little arrow. They're not the answer either, all right? So if we sub in a 7, 2 times 7 minus 9 is less than 3. That would be 14 minus 9, which is 5. Is 5 less than 3? No, it's not. That's why 7, 8, and 9 are not in our answer. So the open dot doesn't include the number, but would 5.9 work? Yes. Would 5.9 repeating work? Yes. Anything that is less than 6, but doesn't include 6. Now, where it does include it is with the or equal to, all right? The closed dot includes the number. If we go to check a negative 8 in this one, and we sub in a negative 8 and we sub in a negative 8, not the nicest problem to check, but negative 2 times negative 8 is a positive 16, minus 1 is 15. We have our less than or equal to symbol. Negative 3 times negative 8 is 24. 24 minus 9 is 15. So we have the inequality statement, 15 is less than or equal to 15. It is or equal to, that's why that negative 8 is included in the number, all right, in our answer. So negative 8 and all the numbers that are less than negative 8 would check. Those are all solutions to the question. So doing a couple more. So we have another two-step inequality. This just has division at the beginning instead of multiplication. We always want to get rid of the plus whatever or minus whatever first. So we're going to subtract 6 and subtract 6. X divided by 2 is greater than or equal to, be careful there, negative 9. This says X divided by 2. The opposite of divide is times. So times 2 and times 2. Bring down our inequality symbol. Negative 9 times 2 is negative 18. We're not flipping the sign Remember, we only flip the sign if that bottom number is negative because we're multiplying by a positive 2. Yes, there's a negative sign in the problem, but we're multiplying by a positive 2. So here's our inequality statement. X is greater than or equal to negative 18. That is a closed dot. Anytime it has a or equal to, it's a closed dot. And we are shading, we're making our arrow go to the right this time, because we want all the numbers that are greater than or equal to negative 18. In this middle one, we have letters on the same side of the equal sign. Since we have letters on the same side of the equal sign, we want to add together our like terms. -5 plus -3. Remember, you have to look at the signs that are in front of your letter in your variable. So -8x, just bring down your +2, is greater than 2. There's your two-step equation. So -2 minus 2. -8 is greater than 0. Divide by -8, divide by -8. Now be careful. Ding, ding, ding. Light bulbs should be going off in your head. That bottom number is negative. So remember, we need to flip the sign. That is less than now. 0 divided by -8 is 0. So we have x is less than 0. So be very careful. We have an open dot at 0, and our arrow goes towards the left. Be very careful on that one. Also be very careful on this one. This one's almost a trick question. They love this type of question on the Regents exam. There's really an invisible set of parentheses around this upper part. Normally when you're solving an equation, you get rid of the plus whatever or minus whatever first. Well, in this one, there's really an invisible set of parentheses around that upper part because it's a fraction. So in this one, we actually have to get rid of the divided by 7 first. We get rid of the divided by 7 by doing times 7 and times 7. So we have x plus 1 is less than or equal to 63. -1 minus 1. So x is less than or equal to 62. So you're going to put a closed dot here, and our arrow goes to the left. So be very careful. Make sure that you're using the correct open dot or closed dot. If you end up with an answer that is backwards, make sure that you flip it around. For example, if we take a look at this one, we're not going to do all these, but if we take a look at this one has the x on the right-hand side of the inequality sign. So in this one, we would do -11 and -11. 6 is less than or equal to x divided by 2, times 2 times 2. So we would end up with 12 is less than or equal to x. Now remember, that's not our answer. If you get an answer that is written backwards like that, you have to flip it around. 12 less than or equal to x becomes x is greater than or equal to. When you flip it around, you have to flip around everything, including the inequality sign. Now you can graph it. X is greater than or equal to 12. So 12 is right here. It's a closed dot because it's or equal to, and your arrow is going towards the right. Be very careful, because notice if you didn't flip it around, you would think that your arrow is going to the left, but it's not going to the left. It's going to the right, because you have to have your letter or variable first, then your inequality sign, then your number, your answer. There are other examples in the notes. So if you want to look at the hard copy, the finished copy of the notes, there's more examples there, but we did one of each type of question. Go ahead and do the class kick for solving and graphing inequalities.